Alright, here we go. We finally made it. We brainstormed, we gathered inspiration, we created our mock-up layout. Jump over to Google. Now it's time to actually. I found an image I'd like to use. Cover. Did some research and looked up. I'm going to start off by found one of Lucy Charles. She was a second place winner. Layout right here. So the world champion. Just selected right here. I'm going to click Kona this year for Ironman. Hit Command D. One of the fastest swimmers out there. Let's go ahead and reposition and get these side by side just so we can see them. And I'll kind of work my way down the page, but first I'm going to go ahead and add an image. Let's jump over to Google. Now before I show you the image that I selected from my magazine, I want to tell you about a couple resources you can use when you're searching for photos. So Pixabay is a really good resource. I just did a quick search on cooking, and you can find images here that you can use for your magazine cover. Let's see, Pexels is another one. This one I did a search for soccer. If soccer's your thing, you should be able to find some images here that relate to that. And lastly, you can also just look up whatever the name of your hobby is and then wallpaper. One of my favorite things is using large-scale images in my designs. Makes it look really cool. So if your thing was mountain biking, you could search mountain biking wallpapers and find some really good stuff here. Lots and lots. For me, I did some research and looked up particular people that are big in the sport of triathlon. This is Lucy Charles. She was second place winner at the Ironman World Championships in Kona this year. So I really liked this photograph here. I'm going to go ahead and right click on this and just choose copy image. Jump back into Sketch here. I'm going to click on this duplicated artboard here and just Command V to paste that in. Let's resize this. Just drop it down a little bit. Let's get it to about there. That's probably good, and I can come down at the bottom and resize it just a little bit more. Get it to where I want it. I think that's going to work. Alright, so now with that photo selected, I'm just going to come over here to my layers panel and choose the photo and rename it. Let's say main background, and then I'm going to need to drop it down beneath everything. So I'm just going to grab this layer, drag it right beneath everything, and I think I got just about everything except for these lines. I'm going to take these lines out. There we go. And now I'm just going to start making changes to items on my page. And I'll show you guys just a little bit of this, but for the most part I'm going to do the work and then I'll come back and show you what I did, the finished product. One additional thing I'm going to do, let's go ahead and take out these lines here, and I'm going to grab one more photo for this little square right here. Let's jump over to Google, and I've got a photo in mind. I'm just going to copy this guy right here, and let's go back. This one's going to be pretty big, so paste. I'm going to resize this way down. Something like that. And now I need to find my square. Let's go ahead and hide this for a second. Choose my square. Let's call this a small photo. This is why it's important to rename things in your layers panel. When you go looking for it later, it's easier to find when you know what you named it. So I am a violator of that right now. Let's go ahead and bring that photo back. I'm going to hold down Command and choose both of those, and then I'm going to mask it. Alright, so now I can still manipulate this photo. I'll come up here to my combined item. I want to choose the actual image and then just resize it just a little bit. I can come up here to click rotate. Let's make that kind of the same angle there and move it over a bit. Something like that I think is what I want. Okay, one more thing I want to do to this image before we move on. I'm going to select this and I want to apply a border. Let's go ahead and come over here to the layers panel. I'm going to click mask. Let's apply a border. I want it to be white, so no change there. And rather than being an inside border, I want it to be an outside border. And let's bump this up a bit, maybe to like 5. So now it looks more like a photograph. I think that would be much better. Alright, I've already got a drop shadow applied. I put it on there when I was going through the layout process. Alright, now let's go for the big one, the magazine title. This you might find to be one of the toughest things in your design process, is coming up with a really good title for your magazine. It's not a real magazine, but everybody wants to come up with a really awesome title, myself included. So going through, I just looked at keywords that had to do with triathlon, had to do with swimming, found something that I really liked. I'm going to go with threshold. So we got that there. Let's go ahead and resize this just a bit. I'm probably going to change the coloring on this. Right now it's not what I want it to be, but I do have the border on there, so that's going to change. And then lastly, I'm thinking about changing the shape right here. I like the way the shape looks, but I think it would look a little bit cooler if change the shape a bit, kind of to match up with her arm angle here. So let's go ahead and select our shape. I'm going to come over here in the layers panel, drop this down. I used a triangle to create this shape. And what I want to do is come up here in the toolbar, click edit, and I'm just going to go down and manipulate this. Something like that. Click off. I think for me that looks a little bit better. I like when shapes kind of mirror some of the angles within your photograph. It looks really cool. Okay, so with that, I'm going to drop off here, make some changes and updates to my magazine cover. I'll come back and show you guys the finished product. Okay, so here we are with the final product, and I'm pretty happy with it. I'll take you through it really quick. I mostly went through and added color for the title, added that white border that I wanted to add there, and I think it looks pretty good. I've got some coloring here on my article titles. I've got the little background shape here. This little circle I'm pretty happy with. Rather than a solid border here, I did a dotted line, and if you look over here in the inspector, with that selected, I just have the border here, and then I added a dash of 5 and a gap of 5, and that'll give you that effect. Over here I changed the shape, which I think I showed you guys. I also created a duplicate of that shape and then just moved it down and to the right a little bit, which gives it kind of that offset look here, kind of a shadow and an offset look. Finished up the text. One thing I will say that I recommend that you pay attention to is the border or the gutter that you have going around the border of your magazine. You want to try and keep a consistent buffer there. So if you have a buffer of 20 pixels, make sure that you keep that 20 pixel buffer going all the way around with your text. Not as important with shapes like this, but ones that stick out right here. I would try to keep it consistent. When it starts crossing over there, it looks a little dicey. Probably one of the main areas of feedback that I gave students in the last course in terms of constructive feedback for their magazine designs. Lastly, I've got this little photo down here. Not entirely happy with it. I think it turned out okay. I'm not totally thrilled about it, but I think if I just get rid of it, the simplicity of just what's there right now looks so much better with that taken out. Sometimes when you're pushing too hard on a design concept that you really like and you're trying to force it, sometimes it's better just to take it out, see what it looks like, and if it improves the look of what you have, maybe just get rid of it. And in my case, I have to let it go. Hard to do, but it looks so much better without it. Alright, so there you have it. There is my design for my magazine cover. I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with it as well. When you go through and create your own magazine covers, be sure you follow the same process and don't skip this. It's a really fun exercise and you get to post it on our Facebook site and get some feedback, which is always a fun thing. If you're not a member of the Facebook group, please be sure to search for us. I'll flash a picture here on the screen of the name. Just send a join request if you're not a member already, and be sure to post that there so you can get some feedback from myself and your fellow students. And just like I tell everybody when I do give feedback, going back and updating anything is totally up to you. It's not mandatory. If you want to go back and make changes or make some small tweaks based on the feedback you get, you're more than welcome to. Otherwise, leave it as is. It's your design. Anyway, that's it for now, and I will see you in the next section. Thanks for watching.